Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trade Talks Live. I am Roger Wakefield coming to you, and I'm going to do this right. Coming to you from, man, beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There's signs on there so I don't walk through the glass, but as you see, I'm sitting right here on the marina, right across from the ocean, right over here. So, man, that's kind of what's going on. How are y'all doing today? And let me kind of swing that around. I'm sure y'all don't want to look off in the closet, but nothing there but my clothes. Welcome to the Trade Talks. If you've been here before, man, we are glad that you're back. If this is your first time here, we do this every day at 11 o'clock Eastern time. That way, if you're on lunch, you can watch and listen and ask questions and be part of the show. If you're not, if you're Central, Mountain, Western, anything like that, or Pacific, you can jump in on your lunchtime, listen to it. We talk about 11 different topics, and we do this because we think that people that are more informed in their industry and learn new things each and every day move up to be in the top 5% of their industry. So we do this each and every day. I'm Roger Wakefield. I'm a plumber, and I've been plumbing since 1980. Guys, that's a long time. So I know we bring a lot of information about the trades, all kinds of trades, but we love that we get to do it, and we love that y'all are here with us. So thank you so much. Squirt, welcome back to Texas.
Man, glad to be back in the studio and actually see 10 o'clock up on the board again. It feels a little weird the way it's been all week, actually being in Eastern time.
I love that. I love that.
But everybody, I am Henry Wakefield, aka Squirt, as you can see on the screen. You'll also hear Randy and probably some other things too. I go by all of them. I hear them all. I understand them all. But I was a 20-year pipe fitter by trade. My whole family's plumbers, and that's why we stepped in, and I run Leak Pro now. And I get to build the right tools to put in plumbers' hands. And we build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. Quick, we would like to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. But we do. We build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. If you're not doing leak detection yet, guys, get on, check out our equipment. It's user-friendly, super easy to use, push-button activation. A volume knob is the only adjustment on the whole device. So check out our equipment at www.leak-pro.com. I always suggest checking out the complete kit that comes with both pieces of equipment to cover you for the outdoor and the indoor stuff. Anything through slabs, you're covered. But also, if you don't know anything about leak detection, give me a call. I do a 2-day in-person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas. I'll teach you every part from locating lines, pinpoint locating leaks, isolation testing to locate leaks precisely on a sewer system, and even how to market this for your business. So give us a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and I'd be happy to discuss the equipment or setting up some training with you.
And something you said earlier, you said, if you're not using leak detection and you stopped, and I want to just holler and say, you should be, because literally leak detection helped me grow Texas Green Plumbing, because it was something that most plumbing companies weren't doing. Most plumbing companies, they hire another company to come out and do their leak detection. Well, guess what? If I go to a doctor and I'm like, you know what? I need somebody to look at my eyes. He's like, oh, I got a guy. Well, leak detection companies are the same way. And if you send them out to do a leak detection job, I've heard them do this multiple times. They're like, hey, look, if you don't like the price the company that sent you out here or sent us out here for, if you don't like their price, call us. Because I've got people that do this too. And I've got some really good people. Well, now they're like, wait, you're the leak detection expert. You got people that you'll recommend. You're not recommending the plumber that sent you out here. It's kind of funny like that. But look, learn it. Everybody that comes to training right now tells us people in their area are 2 to 6 weeks out, the people that normally do their leak detection work. So something to think about. But if you want to learn to do what we do on YouTube, I made a webinar. Look, it's an hour where I just teach you the myths that are in your head probably aren't true. And if you're thinking about doing social media, you want to do social media, you see the opportunity that I saw, and you think, I can grow my business, I can grow me, I can grow in the trades, I can do whatever it is, it may be something worth checking out. So if you want to learn more about that, go to www.justmattroger.com. Squirt, let's talk about some national news, because the registered apprenticeship system is gaining momentum.
Man, guys, there's a big push going on. Okay. And
I love this.
from what I was reading this morning, okay, guys, this is going to get good. New bipartisan bill introduced to modernize and grow the U.S. registered apprenticeship system, guys. Major goals here, they're going to increase some funding for skilled trades apprenticeships. Okay. They're going to standardize programs across different states. But also, they're going to prioritize underrepresented groups. Now, guys, I love this. And I think some other things that I was reading on it is Trump's goal is to increase apprenticeships by 1 million positions year over year. So he wants 1 million this year, 1 million next year, 1 million the next year. Guess what, guys? That will fill the void that we have that we're needing. And I just think that this is amazing that we're starting to push for it. The government's buying into it, and they're going to try to help us get there.
You know why he's doing that? Because, look, President Trump saw me and Dr. Phil together talking about it. And when we talked about there's 1 million unfilled trades jobs right now, and Dr. Phil says, look, in 3 years, we figure that's going to be 4 to 5 million. Okay. If we bring in 1 million more each year, because guys, they're all not going to make it. Okay. They're going we normally figure about 50%. But if we can get 1 million, and that's 1 million more than we're getting now, y'all. It's not, hey, we're already getting 900,000. Gee, let's call it 1 million so we can say we got 1 million. It's let's get 1 million more in. And if you look at that, Randy, if you could knock out 500,000 new tradespeople in the trades that come in and stay with it and grow through it each and every year, that could be amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And guys, I don't want it to just stop after a couple of years. I want it to keep going.
Yeah. 10, 20 years from now, we're saying, oh my God, the trades in America are the greatest place on earth.
That's what I'm talking about. And
pretty soon they're going to be telling kids in middle school and high school, if you don't become a plumber, electrician, or an HVAC technician, you're never going to amount to anything. Let's spin the table around.
Hopefully, we'll see. You know, hey, we're kind of headed that way. At least they're starting to see it as equals, as a beneficial thing. Because honestly, guys, you can go out and make the same salaries that doctors make. Yeah, you're going to have to put in some hours. You're going to have to use some smarts. But guess what? Do it. Join a trade. A big trade. Some of the big trade impacts that this is going to have. It can open new funding for training programs. Mm-hmm. That's huge because a lot of the training programs, the hard part is figuring out the financing of it and things like that, because it's a large upfront cost when you're building a new center or things like that. But also easier credit transfers between the states and the employers. Love that they are looking at this. We talk a lot about wanting to do a national licensing system to where you can work across different state lines and stuff, as long as you've got the right license and maybe the right certification that adds on to cover that area or whatever it is. I think we're headed the right direction here. But trades businesses should connect with local workforce boards now to prep for any grant opportunities that are out there to increase your training center if you've got one going. So definitely start looking into it. Get out there and find out what you've got.
And I love this. I think this is amazing. And I think this is something that it's needed to happen for a while. It's good to have a president in that's actually listening and saying, you know, hey, look, there's a great opportunity in trades. And guys, this is a great time, because if he takes away the extra taxes on overtime, yeah, Randy, can you imagine how much more money you and I would have made over just say the last 10 years that we worked in the field? the overtime that we worked and not paying taxes on that.
Here, let's twist that question real quick.
Okay.
If it would have been that way when we were actually working,
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Do you think this is what you'd be doing today?
Oh no, I'd still be in the field. I'd be like, dude, I can't afford to do YouTube. You know,
That's it. Like, and that's what they're trying to do. And I love it. I think we should go to no tax on overtime because guess what, guys? Most people want the 40-hour weeks.
You bet.
And that's fine. I'm down for that. And most everything's figured on the country to be able to operate on the taxes of everybody working 40-hour weeks.
I love it.
If that person wants to put in extra 20 hours on their
So
body,
he can get him and his family ahead.
That's it.
Yeah.
Why do you want to tax them on that? Guess what? The money that they make, they will be paying taxes on the things that they purchase. It gives them more buying power, which helps feed into the taxes again. So I would love for this to happen for every tradesperson across the country because there's times that, man, we have to work a lot of hours to try to reach somebody else's goal, get that business to where they can step up to that next level. Cut the taxes on our overtime for those extra hours that we're putting in that nobody else in the world's putting in. I think that's an amazing thing, and we really should head that direction.
And that is good stuff. All right, let's roll. Have you pulled up this website yet? Because you're talking about hammerinhand.com, and it's home of the best practices manual, which I like that, with step-by-step illustrated guides on weatherproofing, flashing, insulation, and more. Now, this is a lot of the contractor type stuff, guys, not stuff that you would think of as a plumber, electrician, HVAC tech, but some of this is the most important stuff in your house because it's what makes everything else work. You've got to waterproof it. You got to have the flashings done right. Insulation is what makes your HVAC systems even better. Now, this is really a good channel because it has excellent visuals and field tested instructions, and it's based on real world job site experiences, not just theory. Squirt, what do you like about this website?
So, look at what I've got here. Okay. Like this is what I dug into this morning. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
New window installation here, guys. We start with just a hole in the wall. Okay. Well, then you've got to go through this part. You've got to get your line set. You've got to do this. You've got to seal this. This has to be flashed so that no water protrudes into that wall itself. But look how clean these visuals are, showing you each thing, each part that they're talking about. That's one of the reasons I pulled this side up because I was just
step by step. Yep.
Holy cow. It is a step-by-step guide with visuals that help support that so that you can envision what is really going on. And I mean, look at that. Boom. Now you're almost done with the whole process. And they're telling you all the different reasons and stuff like that. And I just thought that was really neat. So the resources video, best practices manual was one of the coolest things that I found. And I was just like, man, this is really neat.
I like this. And here's what I thought about as you were going through talking this and I'm looking at it. I thought about Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Because here's what I like about stuff. And guys, this is what we do these videos for. This is what we built this whole daggum channel for is, don't get me wrong, I don't need to know how to install a window, but I can go through there and see step by step what they do and how they do it. Now there's something out there that I know less about. I love stuff like this.
Yep.
This is cool.
That's it. Like, and look at this beautiful crawl space.
Oh, no doubt.
Now, I haven't been in one like that.
Oh, I have, but
I've seen some on videos, and like I haven't had a pier and beam house in a long time, but if I did and I actually had to do some work under there, I would definitely roll out some plastic, do some sealing to make it a great place because guess what? It is another part of your home. Even though I know you don't see it every day, it's a part and piece of it.
This is cool. All right, and the good thing about it, they've got downloadable PDFs, which is amazing, and it's updated regularly based on job site feedback. Now, this is good for instructors, small shop owners, homeowners, DIYers, anybody like that may be like, look, this is the way I install windows, but you look through this, it's like, ooh, you know what? I'm skipping that step. And now you learn something that makes you even better. So, man, this is good. All right, business growth. increasing revenue through training and certifications. And guys, I got to tell you, I love this part because I've got every master endorsement in Texas. And when you can walk in, even to the big union contractors, and you're like, look, I'm a master plumber. I've got master med gas. I've got master water supply protection specialist, master multi-purpose residential fire protection systems. You bring chips to the table. You've got certifications, you've got licenses, you've got endorsements that 99.9% of the plumbers out there don't have.
Yep.
And Randy, that's a feather in your hat that brings more dollars on your check.
Dude, like for me, you know, like certifications, I was a pipe fitter. If you had that welder that had 21 certifications in their pocket, guess what? You could go work on anything on the job. It didn't matter what got thrown at you because they have that certification. They've got that proof. And guess what? Every customer that sees it, they're like, yep, go for it. I can see you're clearly certified. This job is for you, especially when there's major inspections going on. And when I say that, like in the welding area, we have to do 100% X-ray welds on some jobs.
Sometimes,
because
right. Sometimes
that's what's
you do.
required. Yeah, not always, but sometimes. And whenever that's required, you definitely want somebody that has as many certs in their pocket as they can, because you know that they're confident they can do it. They've been through it. It shows their reps. And that's one thing that certifications truly show really quick is your knowledge bank, how much you know about things that actually in your trade. So that's what gets you these jobs, and get your guys certified in as many certifications as you can.
And in plumbing, a big one, the backflow certification.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I took that certification through the union, got it. Now I've let that one go, but it's just because it's so much money a year to keep it up. I mean, it's not a lot, but I wasn't doing any of the work because me as a plumber, I know what we charge hourly or what our hourly rate is based on. And these were literally, this is a job that in the backflow certifications, there's companies out there that's all they do. Well, they've got it down. They can literally go out and do a test in 10 minutes, file the paperwork and get it turned into the cities. And I'm like, you know what, with what y'all charge, it's cheaper for me to just hire y'all to do it. It's like a dig crew.
Yep.
People ask me all the time, they're like, do your plumbers hate digging? No, not at all, because they don't do it.
I don't ever do it.
You know?
Maybe a little exploratory, but nothing major.
Yeah. They may dig a little something for a valve box, but they're not digging a trench for me, I promise.
Yep.
They're not tunneling under a house. But then other things too, other certifications, OSHA 30. You know, you've got to have a special OSHA 10 just to get your Texas plumbing license.
Well, a lot of job sites require an OSHA 10 just to step foot on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And then
At least OSHA 10.
Whoever's your lead has to
Yep.
have that OSHA 30.
Yep.
I was talking to a guy that did Division 10. He's like, dude, we go in and screw things onto the wall. There's an OSHA 30 requirement. I don't have anybody with OSHA 30. Like, guys, the people that we have working aren't there. And I'm like, but what would you have to do to get one of your guys to go and do an OSHA 30 so that he can do all of those jobs for you? And he's like, you know what? That's a good point. It's like certifications matter, especially on larger and larger projects.
And you know what, Scott, we're talking about training certifications. Our sponsor, Leak Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Get it. If you're a plumber and you can do something that 99.9% of the plumbers out there can't do, you make more money. You can charge more. You know, it's like me talking about being a med gas plumber doing service work. When a dentist office call, it's like, we can double the price for that. Roger's the only one that can do it. It's crazy. It's like hiring an attorney. Do you want the top attorney, the one with the name on the building? Because he's $1,000 an hour. Or do you want one of his assistants that are $500 an hour? Or do you want just a new little associate that just came in? He's $200 an hour. And, you know, the more certifications, the more training, the more you've got, the more you can do, the more you are worth.
That's it. And you can also build a bunch of training incentives in there for the employees to participate, and also review that, how that's going for people, try to figure out where they're at, things like that. And
every employee wants to learn.
that's it.
Yes.
We all want to get better at the things we do.
Boy, isn't that the truth. I
All
don't
right.
think anybody's ever woke up and thought, you know what? I want to suck at this job.
That's it. Now, over here into service work,
Mhm.
I came up with some scripts for turning those price shoppers into booked clients. Because
Man, I
we all
love
get those calls. Oh, well, so and so can do it cheaper. Okay, well then, if you want cheaper, go with so and so. That's not always what you say though, because sometimes, guess what, you need that job, and I understand that. So let's say that the customer says, "I'm just getting a few quotes." Okay, well, first one you can do is a reassurance. Okay, you know what? That is smart. I'll make sure that you have everything you need to compare apples to apples. And when you say that, you need to explain to them also, because it's a customer, they may not know what you mean by that. Oh, well,
Mhm.
I'm using the top materials that you can use. So make sure that they're using this material also. If not, hey, it may be cheaper if I offer something else. But the reason I don't offer something else is blank. Because if it was my home, I would not want anything less than the best material to install. And just do that to kind of reassure them that, hey, you're doing the right thing, but here's something that I want you to look at as you're doing this.
Okay, Randy, that is for reassurance.
Mm-hmm.
What if you're trying to put yourself as the authority, the one? Look, this is my area. This is my specialty.
Love that one. Look, we are not always the cheapest, but we are called to fix a lot of the cheapest jobs. Boom. There you go. There's your quickest. Look, I am the authority. You want to shop for the cheapest? That's fine. You could end up calling me later to come fix what they're going to do for you, though. And that lets them know really quick that you are kind of the authority in your space.
Okay, so what if it's something, say, I want to sell the job. We need work. So I want to go ahead and get them to do it, but I don't want to pressure them.
That's it. Man, one of the best ways, look, I have a slot open today, and I'd love to help you if you're ready. You're not trying to push them to make that decision, but you're just letting them know, hey, just so happens I am available if you want to go ahead and proceed forward. And I think that's a really good one. And it's just kind of, a lot of people jump on that opportunity because they're like, wait, oh, you're booked out the rest of the week. So
Yeah.
What
You
is it?
can get me in right now. Yeah,
That FOMO, that fear of missing out,
absolutely.
Oh, well, if I don't go ahead and do it today, man, I may have to wait a couple days or try to find somebody else that can do the job just as good or something like that. And they don't want to deal with this. But a good tip here is practice these in team meetings to avoid just sounding like you don't know what's going on and sounding robotic, because you don't want to sound like you are just sitting there and reading a script. And guys, confidence really does book jobs. So work through this with your team. And we talk about that a lot doing role playing. It's a big thing. And do it in front of the whole team so that everybody can give feedback and learn from each other's trainings also. And that goes a long way.
Good stuff. I want to say hello real quick to Kevin Hawthorne up in here. Says, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Well, I'm on the other side, I believe. I am looking over Fort Lauderdale right now. Not a bad deal. Kevin, great to see you in here, brother. Thank you so much. Let's go into materials, equipment, and tools. The tool every apprentice should buy first, and why?
Yep.
Now, can you hear the beeping or no?
Just a little. Not bad, though.
Okay. I got cold and I didn't want to get up and walk over the thermostat. So what do you think they should buy first?
The most important is a quality tape measure and a level. Everything on a job has to be measured. Everything has to be plumb level and square.
I don't know. I've seen
the
some
most
plumbers
part.
that don't do it plumb level and
Well,
square.
I know. I've seen swing joints. I've seen all this stuff. But guess what? The flows have to be right. We both worked in trades where flow and fall actually matters because, well, guys, water naturally runs downhill. If you didn't know that.
I love the naturally part, because a lot of people understand it's like water runs downhill. It's like not always. They're like, yes, it does. No, it doesn't.
I can pump it up, but
Absolutely.
gravity's always trying to pull it down. So Work with gravity as much as you can. But honestly, like a quality tape measure, guys, you want one that's long enough for the things that you do. 25 is great. I also kept a 35 footer stashed in my box. I wouldn't pull out often, but occasionally you need a little bit longer distance. You need to do a 30-foot mark or something like that. It's kind of nice to have that other tape measure there. But these tools are going to help you learn layout, discipline, and attention to detail, like a level. Learning how to read that bubble and look at the different size of bubbles, because sometimes there's a little more error in one level versus the other. So whenever you are shopping, find one that you like. You like the bubble size, put it between the lines and make sure that you can clearly see that it's even on both sides of it as you're going to pick out your level. And then tape measures, I always preferred a wide tape. I do like the Fat Max magnetic, because I wanted that magnet in, because I was always shoving up against a piece of pipe or something like that. I always had a metal structure for the most part. Not always, but that magnet helped me do my job better a lot of times. And also, if you're on top of a ladder and drop something, you can use it to pick it back up without going down. So it's kind of important to go through and buy a good tape and level, because these are the ones you're always going to be using. And they are nearly used on every job, no matter what you're doing, unless you're just running around sweeping up.
I love that.
So yeah, like it's important. And even channel locks, like our world, I was in the piping world, tape level channel locks, because we were always dealing with hangers and adjusting things like that. Having those quality ones that are going to last you a long time, though. I've had some cheap tape measures. It's not worth it. They do not last long. They tear up pretty quick. Oh, it's just, it's rough.
They'll wear you out.
That's it. Like, and if you are an apprentice, you can't afford the nice tape measures, things like that. Do just like the rest of us did. Go and bug your family and the people you know. Hey, man, would you happen to have a decent extra one that I could use for a little bit till you get those first few checks in? But these are the first tools that I would actually purchase. The best that you can, that you want, that fits in your world. And we've actually invested in a lot of Milwaukee's here lately on tapes and stuff.
I love these new Milwaukee tapes.
I know,
yeah.
because Milwaukee didn't make anything like that back when I was in the field. They made a decent one. It wasn't bad, but now they're actually kind of matching the Fat Maxes, the wides, the magnetics, all the extra stuff. And my favorite was the scale rule on the back, because if you do a lot of print reading, keeping a scale rule can be a pain sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I want to shout out here. 18 Plumbing says, good morning, guys. How are you doing? Good to see you in here as always. And Pinche Plumber says, good morning, y'all. If you're a new plumber trying to start union, will this list change? Probably, because the union is probably going to give you your tools. And I think we used to have a bag for first year apprentices, but they're going to give you what they give you. But they also, depending on where you're at in Texas, you've got 10 cents on the hour to replace tools if they're ever damaged or broken or anything. So at that point, you can buy the ones that you want to buy, which I think is a good thing. I like.
Yeah, and then whenever you do buy those, buy the upgraded ones. Get the good ones that you want. Because a lot of those, I think even whenever they gave us our tool bags, it wasn't a great tape measure. I used that as a spare because I went and invested in a good one, because it was like, you know what? No, I want a good tape on my hip.
I agree. Squirt, will you talk about Leak Pro, please?
Yeah, we would like to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. And guys, we build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And when I say system, I mean, it's a business in a box. We do the complete kit that comes with both devices that I build. I build a probe, which is a T-handle style, solid block of aluminum up top with a stainless steel rod. That's real durable for probing in and out of the ground. So this is what we prefer for that meter to the home service, irrigation lines, anything like that out in the yard itself. But then also make the Sidekick. It's a pistol grip style with an aluminum rod on it. That aluminum rod, it's a less dense metal, so it enhances the sound even more than the probe does. But this is what we prefer when you're going and listening through slabs, either in the home We really love it inside. But even if you're listening through some driveways or a sidewalk or something outside, this one eliminates that layer of concrete so that you can pinpoint locate those leaks. So always check out the complete kit. And you can check out the equipment at www.leak-pro.com. But also, if you don't know how to do leak detection, guys, there's a system and a process for it. You can come spend a couple days with me out here just outside of Dallas, Texas. I've got a training. I'll teach you how to locate the lines. I've got 11 leaks under a slab here to train you on, one outside of the slab itself so that you know what that sounds like also. And then I've got a cast iron and a PVC sewer system set up out here where we can go through and train you how to go to that double clean out outside of a home and determine exactly where a sewer system's leaking in the mains, even the branch lines, by doing some different isolation testing. But also we'll teach you how to market these services in your area. So give us a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and I'd be happy to discuss the equipment or the training with you.
All right. So what I'm going to talk about is YouTube. If you are not doing YouTube and you've thought, you know what, our business isn't growing, I wish we could find new ways to make the phone ring, whatever it is, I want you to think about that, because I literally started doing YouTube 7 years ago because I got tired of marketing companies ripping me off. So YouTube became a way that I could put information out there. I could become a trusted advisor. I could be seen each and every day talking about plumbing. And that helped me grow to become the expert plumber. So if this is something that you've thought about doing, if you'd like to find new ways to grow your business, if you'd like to find new ways to have customers find you and call you, and remember, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So people are searching for what it is you're talking about. It's not just putting an ad out there and hoping it gets in front of the right person at the right time. These are problems people have, and they're searching for it. So a lot of people tell me, I can't do it. I can't do it because I've taken 3 of those big myths and gone through and show people why that's really not true. So if you think that you'd like to learn YouTube, which what I love about learning YouTube is I can cut it and repurpose it on so many other platforms. I think the long form version on YouTube is the best way to start. If you want to learn more about that, I made a free webinar to help you out. Just go to www.justmetroger.com and check it out. And after you watch it, come back in here and let me know what you thought about it. Because I truthfully think, and Mr. Beast even said this, any entrepreneur out there that doesn't have a YouTube channel is hurting themselves. So if you've got a business, or maybe you think you want one day, learn how to do YouTube now and start growing it so that when you do, it helps you make the phone ring. Again, www.justmetroger.com. Squirt, MEP, coordination during retrofits in occupied buildings.
Yes.
We've never had to do this before, have we?
Maybe once.
Maybe once.
Or twice. I mean,
it was a bad day.
It's probably a few. Yeah, you're probably right. But guys, there are a lot of challenges that go into an existing commercial facility for you to go in and work on it while the workers are there and everything is trying to stay in full operations. I have dealt with so many limited shutdown windows. This is how many hours? It does not go a minute over. Well, guess what? Sometimes that's 2 hours, 3 hours. You have to have
Sometimes it's 30 minutes.
That's it. You've got to have every single thing in place, ready to go. And yeah, I did some TI ones. They're like, look, the shutdown's as quick as possible. Can you do it in 5 minutes? And
right.
It was some things we actually had to set up and plan to have it done in 5 minutes, because these machines, $1 million a minute. 5 minutes is a big deal. Slow it down. So you've got to be prepared. You've got to make sure all your ducks are lined up. Another hard part is the space conflicts. Okay. Ducts versus drains versus conduit. Who goes in first? The M, the E, the P? Nobody really knows. but you're going to have to plan it perfectly because, like I said, there's that time restraint. Everybody, this is the room. It's this big. That's it. Yeah, 3 trades got to work in here. We need 9 people in here working. Okay, how are we strategically going to do that? Who needs in the back? Who needs here? Who needs here? What all can we do and work together? And that is one of the most important things. And like prepping for a shutdown, you've got to know where everybody has to be in those locations. You want to do
And at what time?
exactly. You want to do a clash meeting. Looking at that, looking at the time. Okay, when are we both going to try to be in there at the same time? Well, everybody at the very beginning, sure. But we got to shut it down. We got to make sure these steps and places are in the order. And holding that meeting ahead of time is going to set you up for success. One of the big things I always did whenever I was doing estimating is I would color code my prints.
Yep.
Doing this for shutdowns is huge, showing each trade, because then they can visually see who's where, who's doing what, and have a good idea. Even the digital overlays that you can do now with a lot of softwares. Guys, doing that, I would do one like red versus green or something, and you can quickly go, oh, these aren't lining up. Oh, all this changed. Oh, this isn't going to work out, or things like that.
I love it.
A real good tip, though, for the tight retrofit jobs, prefab as many sections as you can offsite to reduce that on-site conflict time. Because guess what? The less time anybody is in that room, the better it is for every single one of you. So prefab as much as you possibly can. And that goes a long way just in its own.
So, Randy, we talk about solar. We talk about the EV charging stations. And we know that that's growing. We know it's getting bigger. We know if you're an electrician and you're not doing those 2 things, you should be.
That's it.
But where's the work? Because that's where it's at right now.
It is. And honestly, there's a big rollout going across California and Arizona right now for the solar and the EV.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long stretch. You know, I hate to say it, there's not a whole lot going on there. It's a lot of desert and stretch that's kind of desolate in some spaces. There's little towns that you'll run across. I say this because I got to drive to the West Coast. Thanks, Leak Pro. So cool. But to go see these locations and stuff, and like we got some friends in Utah that had driven across the whole state that were in it, Cybertruck. And it's like, well, how much did you have to charge? Well, we only had to stop for 20 minutes to get across the state, but I got here and I've only got 10% of the battery left. And it's like, okay, so you didn't leave yourself tons for while you're here. Right. And it's like, no, I just figured we could handle that while we were here. Because this is growing, and I hate to say it, EV's not going anywhere, and solar is just going to increase more and more because clean energy is where we're headed. And honestly, this matters because these projects need electricians, excavators, low voltage techs, and even plumbers for the trenching and the drainage that's going to be needed for these locations. You don't want to build a charging center where it floods. You're going to have some drainage there. So even your plumbers are going to get some work.
You know, Randy, when I became a lead AP, this wasn't around.
Yeah.
But you know that this is part of the lead project now. You bet. Yep. You've got to look at how many charging stations you have, how many people are going to be in the building and whatnot. So being able to look at that and know what's going on and look at it in advance is going to be big. But they're going to be doing these in public schools, government buildings, retail parking lots.
Yep.
I mean, imagine going to park to go shopping and charge your vehicle while you're there.
That's it.
Not a bad deal. Solar farms with backup storage out in the desert areas. And I say in the desert areas, man, these solar farms are going to be becoming more and more prevalent all around the country.
Yep. That's it. Good tip here. Get certified for solar installs now, guys.
Yeah.
It's not going away, I promise. And I see more and more homes, even around here, getting solar all the time.
I know, and I'm jealous. I want it.
I know. My house here is kind of covered by a lot of trees, but it's like, you know what? got
I got
some
a
room out
field.
there.
Yeah,
That's right. I
yeah.
got a field. I could build me a little solar bank out there and
Man,
be just
isn't
fine.
that the truth? Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about instructor training, because how to spot an apprentice that's struggling before they quit. And this is really good because I loved working with apprentices. And you get those apprentices that get frustrated, and it's like, look, let's go talk. Come over here and look at this.
Yep.
And try to make them understand it a completely different way. Because if you wait till they're so frustrated, they're like, look, I'm never coming back. I hate this. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why are you frustrated? Well, I don't understand it. Well, let me help you understand it. That way you're not frustrated. So I love that. But you look at the ones that, when there's certain things that they're hiding, it's like, wait, where's Squirt at? He went to the Porta Johnny. well, he needs this help more than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Or you go in and look, and it's like, well, we told you to come back in and double nut all the hangers and then cut off the extra rod, and y'all didn't do that. Oh, I forgot about that. Well,
Yep.
see, quit forgetting stuff. But when they forget it, it's a problem. But the biggest problem that I have, the biggest thing that I see, the ones that don't ask questions.
Yep.
That's bad.
If they're not asking questions, they're not interested, which means they don't want to learn, which means they don't really want to do that job. Yep. It's like writing it on the wall. I quit, but they're not quite doing it. And they don't see that. They don't understand that. It's important to keep an eye out for these signs, though, because you can realize pretty quick. And I was in the field 20 years, and you can kind of tell pretty quick that apprentice that's not going to last and not going to make it, because a lot of these signs are showing, you know, they're not paying a lot of attention. And it's like, dude, you got to focus on this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah, be around. He's got it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
I like that.
Definitely. And you know, some things that you can do here, that one-on-one check-in, ask them what their personal goals are. What are they trying to gain? What are they trying to be? Is this a job? Is it a career? You know, that's something you taught me whenever I was trying to get in the union. Look, don't call this a job. Explain to them, you are headed into this for a career. You're not a part-timer. You want to do this. And I did. I gave it 2 decades. That was a career. That's a full career for a lot of people in the world. I'm on a new one now, you know, but you can also assign a shadow work with a trusted journeyman. Let that apprentice follow him. Keep an eye on him. Also, let that journeyman put that apprentice in front, not just behind watching. Boom. Hey, well, here, you watched me do 3 of these. Here, you try this next one. I'll keep an eye on you. I'll point you the right direction. Do you want to be involved or not? And this is a quick, easy way to kind of find out where they're at, where they want to be, things like that. But also you can start weekly 3-question check-ins. What's going well? What's been hard? What do you need from me? Real quick, easy, simple. Doesn't take but a couple of minutes, but that's going to be a lot of feedback for you to know exactly where they're at in their mindset.
And I like this. I like your last question. What do you need from me? I would always ask them, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, look, I want to help you. And a lot of times if it's, you know, go back to the conversation with Ronnie, why don't superintendents do this? Well, if Ronnie asks you, what do you need from me? Nothing. I got it. But then if Ronnie says, hey, how can I help you?
Well,
Ronnie, I don't understand how to do this.
It could help. Yeah.
Like, can you just show me this?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not asking you to do it for me. Show me how to do it, because I want to learn to do it. And when you do stuff like that, it's a big deal.
Well, that's it.
And go ahead.
I was going to say,
your
the stat I found.
Yeah.
67% of trade apprentices who drop out say the lack of mentoring was the biggest factor.
That's tough.
Get in there and teach, man. And
they need it.
I remember that because I'd get stuck with one of those journeymen occasionally. Luckily, I had a family of plumbers, so I had a good idea how to do piping. But
and we were mean to you anyway.
That's it. Oh, I know. Yeah, it was all family, so of course y'all were mean. But you'd get that one journeyman that wouldn't want to teach the apprentice things. And you know what I say? Fine. You don't get no apprentice, bud. Go do your job. Have fun. Yeah, go carry all that pipe by yourself. No, I'm not giving you an apprentice. Why? You don't want to teach them. You think they're trying to take your job. I'm going to run you off before the apprentice because they're actually here trying to work and you're trying to withhold your knowledge from them learning what they need to be doing. Also, they want to work side by side with you, not run you off the job and take it over. Guess what? Most apprentices don't know enough yet. So they really want that knowledge coming from you. So pass on the information.
And I used to love it as a journeyman because the more I taught them, the more I could get them to do, the more I could just watch and make sure they're doing that right while I did something else. So I did always love that. Okay, specialty work. Now, specializing in ADA remodels, there's a growing demand and there's a lot of unique details. But I used to love that because that's one thing. Whenever I roughed in a toilet, whenever I roughed in a commercial bathroom, I went through and made daggum sure every height was perfect because you don't want to have to tear into a wall to change elevations on a wall hung toilet or something. But there's a massive demand in aging public facilities, clinics, and restaurants because everything's got to be current. Everything's got to be ADA, but we also got to keep it all up to date. So that's cool. And when you specialize in stuff like this, it's like the solar, it's like the wind turbines. There's less competition and there's high pay because you build high trust clients that are like, look, when Roger comes in and does this, he does it right. Just call Roger, tell him to come fix it. And when you've got value like that, they're not calling to say, let's discuss the pricing and how we can cut your price.
No,
It's, hey, look, we need this done right. That's why we called you.
that's it. And even in a lot of residentials, because guess what? They bought their home. Well, guess what? Yeah. Oh, I'm buying this home. I'm going to live here the rest of my life. Well, we don't think, oh, I may be in a wheelchair at that age. We don't think of that in our younger days when we're picking out that great house. So there's a lot of those remodels. And guess what? It's not, oh, how much is this going to cost? No, it's, I need to be able to use that bathroom. And I need to be able to get my wheelchair in and out of there, even from the car in, because you've got to be able to access your home. Is there a few steps? Guess what? You may need a ramp later in life. There's going to be some construction requirements needed to do that. Some of the key areas to look for on this ADA stuff: proper toilet heights, just like you said. That was one of the biggest things. I actually ran some plumbing jobs. Carrier heights are the most important thing. I would have all my guys do them, but I would go through and physically check them myself after the fact, just to make sure before we released any of the sheet rockers or anything before they started covering things up. Because
it's really hard to shim up a toilet even a half inch, even a quarter inch. And guys, if it's not at the right measurement, guess what? That quarter inch will cost you. It's like, sorry, it doesn't pass.
That's it.
You better know what you're doing.
Adding grab bars. You're going to have to go in and tear the wall to put some backing in.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? If when you're getting your home built, you just tell them, hey, install some backing into all the bathrooms so that we can install grab bars later.
If we need to.
That's right. Just in case. Why? Because it's real cheap to go ahead and put that backing in during the install on the initial build. Also, like I was saying, about bathroom remodels, if they are in a wheelchair, they've got to have a 5-foot turning radius to be able to spin that thing around and have plenty of movement to do that. So a lot of these things we were talking about, this takes a lot of details and knowing all the little rules. It's things like this. This is how much space has to be there to be ADA compliant. And let this be your specialty because it could lead to a ton of work in the future.
Yep. Good stuff. Social media spotlight, the Plumber Lorian, Instagram and TikTok. Now, he's all about Star Wars, if you can't tell by the name. He's good, though. Combines Star Wars humor. Huh?
I said, or the logo.
Or the logo. Yeah, I like it. ThePlumberLorian.com. Yeah, I mean, it's cool stuff. Why did you pick this channel?
Man, so he's kind of doing podcast, is what he's got going now on his major videos. He still does some yard hydrant installs, things like that. But one of my favorites, guys, talk about it a lot. I love real world stuff. This is a plumber doing plumbing things. You know, one of my favorite things to see. And honestly, let's back up real quick. 278 million views. Cruising right along.
Awesome.
Okay. 350,000 subs here. I think it was a little over 250,000 on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But like everything that you can see here in the shorts is them doing real things. Useful tips. When's the last time you had to put one in this big for a wall backer?
Yeah.
I've seen them. You know, I've seen some weird holes in some bricks, guys, that you need a solid plate, things like that. There's different methods to everything. Because a long time ago, I didn't know that they made plates this big to be able to cover some of those holes. So what were we doing? Well, we're grouting and trying to do all this stuff to make it and blend it and make it look decent. Put some different things. And that's one of my big deals.
That's,
But yeah.
no, that's good. I like that.
Then Star Wars, you know, I've been playing Fortnite and it's Star Wars season right now. So, you know, I've just leaned a little into the Plumber Lorian this week, you know, having good times. And
Well, what's neat about it too, I mean, it's engaging for the customers and technicians. Plumbers like this, he's good. He's communicating with his people. This is neat. I like this.
yeah, uses different tools, different things like that, just kind of showing off work. But you know, he blends a lot of education and humor into the content too. And that's one of the best ways to learn is when you're learning from somebody fun. That goes a long way, definitely, and helps feed into everything. And guys, if you're in the trades, get out there and show off some of the things you do. Like these shorts, you know, all the latest, the most popular, everything, all these is them doing something out there. Next time you get the chance, you're out doing some work and it's allowed, go ahead and film what you're doing. You know, a lot of these are point of view. That's a pair of Meta glasses, guys, and you can film everything while you're sitting there doing it and film that little
Yes,
short
you can.
and you're done and it's all hands free. You can even just go, hey, Meta, film video, and it'll start. You don't even have to touch anything. Social
like
media is very beneficial nowadays, and most everybody that you see, they're on there doing real stuff. I love to get on and learn different people's methods, techniques, tips, and tricks that they have, because that's one thing I learned in my trade. Learn from everybody. Learn everybody's way, because each and every way could help you somewhere in some predicament in the future. I remember a lot of apprentices were always asking me, man, why should I do it this way? I know a better way to do it than this journeyman's telling me to do it. Do it their way. That's who you're working with. I'm not going to gripe at you for taking longer. I'll gripe at them, but I want you to learn their way, because you may hit some predicament one day that you need the way they did it, not the way that you're thinking.
Yep.
And they're like, really? And I'm like, I've been in some shutdowns that, yeah, I had to install some swing joints and stuff to get around some weird things. And that goes against all my stuff, but it had to be done in this location. And it's like, look, this is a shutdown. We ain't playing. Get it back up and running, guys. Let's go. Here's what we got to do. And it's fine. We're going to let this one slide this time. It still looked good when we were done, though, because, you know, even when we put it in swing joints, we make it look decent and put it at the right height so you can kind of let it blend in. So it's big. Like, there's so many different things, guys. The way you learn about a lot of this nowadays, social media and checking out what others are out there doing, and that can really go a long way.
Well, I was looking at his Instagram. The Instagram looks great. So
Yeah.
they are doing some cool stuff. All right. So Plumber in a Trade says, good morning, gentlemen. Broke the sacred plumbing rule today. Started a water pressure test 45 minutes before getting off work on a Friday. There's a reason this rule exists. Yeah. Yeah. It's Murphy. If it can go wrong, it will. So no, I completely get it. I love that.
Yeah. And that happens a lot, like testing, leaving things on when you're not supposed to. I can remember pulling up to a job and being like, I was the early bird, so I was always there well before, but I drove a long way to this job. So I'd get there and just kind of kick back and relax, get my mind right to start work. We'll get the call from the boss. Hey man, where you at? You on the way? I know you get here a little early. It's like, I'm in the parking lot, boss. What's up? There's a flood. They left this valve open. It's flooding the building. Can you get in? Okay, let me drop this right now. I'm
Be right
headed
there.
into the building.
Yep.
We'll start cleaning this up because yes, there are a lot of rules there for a reason. And this one was somebody forgot to shut the valve off before we headed out for the weekend, and somebody ended up sneaking up there and opening up a valve, and it flooded everything. Luckily, it was during the building build, so that it didn't do too much damage. But still, it's so much water to deal with and fight and try to get up off the floor so that everybody can come in and start their work week, because all that water goes to the first floor where everybody walks into the building.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Guys, look, this video is sponsored by basically me and Randy, me and Squirt. If you're interested in learning to do what we do, and when Randy first started doing this, he's like, yeah, Dad, I don't like social media. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Well, then it's like, hey, I need you to get in this video. I need you to help here. I need you to do this. And he did. And now, I mean, look at him. He's doing amazing. But what I want to tell you is, if a plumber and a pipe fitter can do this, any of us can. So I teach people how to do YouTube. But really, the biggest problem that I have with trying to teach people is they tell me why they can't do it. So I made a webinar showing people that, look, these myths that you believe, they're not always true. So I want you to think about that. But I made a webinar and it's free. So if you've ever thought about doing YouTube, or you're like, you know what, I wish I knew how, or I wish I knew something about it, go check out this webinar and just go through it and listen to my story and why I do what I do. And I think if you'll do that, you might decide, hey, you know what? If Roger can do it, I can do it. If Randy can do it, I can do it. So guys, the opportunity there is for you. If you're interested in it, if it's something you think you might like to do, go to www.justmetroger.com and check it out, because I promise you, I think it might open your eyes and change your mind just a little bit. Squirt, while you tell everybody about our favorite sponsor, Leak Pro, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here so I can head down. There's a speaker coming up in about 3 minutes I want to get in there for. But guys, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all allowing us to do what we do. And remember, whatever you do out there today, do it safe and have fun. Bye, guys. Thanks, Squirt.
Good. Everybody, we would like to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. We build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. I always suggest checking out the complete kit at www.leak-pro.com. It's kind of like a business in a box. It comes with both pieces of equipment. It's user-friendly, easy-to-use equipment. It's got a user manual in there that's the inventor wrote as the guide for leak detection for the most part. Whenever you would go in to do his training, he would have you read straight from that manual. But check out the equipment at www.leak-pro.com. But also, if you don't know how to do leak detection, I offer a training course. It's a 2-day in-person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas, where I've built a facility out here with 11 leaks under this slab to train you on, one outside of the slab so that you know what that sounds like too. But give me a call and let's get leak detection added to your list of services. Give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. And everybody, it is Friday. Let's stay a little focused for the rest of the day, because I know that weekend's coming and we're ready for it. I know I am, and we got a busy week ahead next week too. Plumber in the trades, that's happened twice this year. Yes, floods happen a lot whenever you deal with any types of piping on a job. I feel like plumbers, fitters, all of the above. It happens. Everybody, I hope that y'all have had a wonderful week, and I hope that you finish out the week strong. Have a great weekend and get out there and hit it effing hard. Bye, guys.